for joining us here at Dreamforce. Who's having a great time? Yeah, day 2 of Dreamforce. Anyway, thank you so much for being here. I'm really excited to be here, and I have you guys join us for this fireside chat. I've got some amazing Trailblazers here with us today, and I apologize for not posting getting a little bit sick. But before I go into this chat, I want to first touch on forward-looking statements. Please don't make any purchase decisions based on what you see today. I'm sure you guys have not seen this slide yet, so I'm sure this is the first time. So first off, I want to say thank you everybody for being here. Thank you to all of our customers. Thank you to our partners, Demandbase, Uberflip, Engagio. They're amazing partners of ours, so if you can stop by their booth and chat with them, they have a lot of amazing technology that you guys can look into. And I want to introduce all of our amazing Trailblazers, but before we do that, can you just show everybody your watches? All your Pardot Apple watches? How cool is that? I'll have Pardot Apple watches. My name is Carrie Smith. I'm on the product marketing team here with Pardot, and really excited to be here to moderate this panel. We also have Tracy Eiler in the back, who's doing a book signing, so she is the go-to person for sales and marketing alignment, so if you can grab a book from her, that would be awesome. Oops, did I skip a... Oh, never mind. There we go. So Trailblazer Spotlight, we have Rebecca King with us. You may recognize her from the cover of this great magazine that we published. We have Tigh Loughhead from Elegant Real Estate, who's here with us today. We have Bailey Wilson from Encino, and then we have Mr. Emilio Reyes-LeBlanc here with us from FIDM. Rebecca, can you introduce yourself and tell us about kind of what you're doing today and where you're at?
Great. Well, when I'm not in a photo shoot for the cover of the magazine, I'm the Director of Software Engineering at Cox Automotive. It's a company that a lot of people recognize some of the parts of our organization, like Kelley Blue Book or AutoTrader. That's really our B2C side of the company, but we actually have 14 other groups, other brands that work with B2B, with dealers, OEMs, and other companies in the automotive industry. And my team started about 3.5 years ago when I was in another group and wanted to help solve the problem that marketers run into so much, where you need data, you need access to technology, you need the IT group to let you install something or help you connect to Salesforce. And we just didn't have anybody whose job that was. And a marketer needs stuff to happen in a couple of weeks so we can do our next campaign. And the technology group did all of their planning in like 18-month windows, and they would say, yeah, come back in 6 months, and by then I don't need it anymore. So we started a technology team that helps to connect systems for all of our marketing teams to use. So kind of joke that I went from being a nerdy the marketing nerd to a nerdy marketer like flip, because I'm now the undercover marketing support person in IT.
Awesome. And Tigh, you've got some really interesting experience as well, so maybe you can tell us about what you've done, who you are, and where you're at.
Well, thank you very much for having me, Gary and Selfer. My name is Tigh, and I am the marketing director for a firm called Elegant. Elegant is a technology-facing real estate company based out of New York City, and I kind of oversee our lead generation and marketing efforts, as well as kind of planning, execution, training for market automation and Salesforce instances as well. With the help of Mike over here, we co-lead the New York City, I get the name right, the Pardot B2B marketing Trailblazer community in New York City. We have about 350 members, and also a Salesforce B2B. So Elegant, we do a lot of lead generation, and we're really very good at it, but spent the last couple of years really trying to cultivate and nurture our database and really build it into an ecosystem.
Awesome, thank you. And you may recognize Bailey from a few of our webinars. So Bailey is master Pardot user from Encino. So tell us a little bit about yourself, kind of what you're doing and where you're at with product.
Yeah, so hey, I'm Bailey Nelson. I'm the Senior Marketing Operations Analyst at Encino, and we are the worldwide leader in cloud banking, so we work with financial institutions to provide them a bank operating system. And in my role, I kind of have, I started as a product administrator just for marketing automation, but it kind of grew into more of a marketing operations role, and I oversee all of our prospecting efforts, the BDG team. I don't know what's happening. Yeah, so I work with marketing, with sales, and I'm also that technical liaison for our team to help with all of the technical efforts with our IT team.
Awesome, thank you. And Emilio, one of my faves. Tell us a little about yourself, what you're doing, and all about Fashion Institute of Design and Merchandising.
Yeah, so hi, I'm a grad school dropout. I studied logic in grad school and I didn't know what to do when I graduated. And I was lucky enough to find myself in a situation where a company just bought Salesforce and they needed people with some sort of quantitative adeptness to go and get trained. And that started a career that began with field sales, that turned into working in sales operations, and then I got excited by really big data sets. And so that led me to marketing operations. So at Finim, we're a relatively small enterprise client with about 250 seats or so. And what we do is we try to leverage the software to the best of our ability to come up with really data-driven, interesting ways to segment audiences and deliver offers. Yeah, I really like, I guess maybe as much as anyone here, I'm really into the analytics side of it. So that's really my passion. My passion is integrating data sets and coming up with really meaningful insights on the basis of that.
Awesome. So as thought leaders and B2B marketing experts, you guys have done a lot of really cool things in the last 12 months. Emilio, can you tell us what some of the cool things you've done and kind of where you see the future of B2B marketing going?
Yeah, I think one really cool thing that we've done that individuates us in the market is we've really put a lot of research into lead scoring. So I think for all of you who have had the chance to use a product like Pardot, there's standard ways that you configure scoring rules and so on. And I think a lot of clients get into a situation where they're baffled on how to assign numbers to events. So you get in a situation where you're like, all right, the stock open, form completion is 50 points, a website visit's 1 point, like whatever. But we really wanted to take a deep dive into our quantitative data and figure out whether there's a more rational way of assigning weights to activities. And this really started a long project for us looking at web data and trying to assign weights to certain categories of behavior. So, did you visit 2 pages? Did you visit this particular pricing page and this other page? And using those kinds of web relationships between activity and sales relevant data, like completing a certain kind of form, what we were able to do is really use a stock Pardot configuration, which is to say the standard sales, scoring category rule adjustments, and come up with something that was really powerful and grounded in longitudinal data. So that's the thing that I'm really the most proud of, and it's had a massive effect on our ability to pass forward web viewing behavior in a quantitative way to our sales reps, who are able to do something with that and really see insight on their likelihood to close.
That sounds awesome. Can I come over and you can show me that? Because that sounds great.
Yeah, on LinkedIn. Yeah.
I'm sure those in everybody's company. Bailey, what have you done that's been really cool over the last 12 months? I know you've done a lot of cool things. Something you've done over the last 12 months and kind of where you see the future of B2B marketing?
Yeah, so I think the coolest thing that we've done. Wow. Well, that's exciting. Is that my mind? Is it just me?
Now we're all awake.
Okay. Okay. Everyone's good. So the coolest thing that we've done, we built a custom attribution model before it was out of the box, now with B2B Marketing Analytics. And we were able to really analyze all of our data and the different campaigns that we're seeing across the buying funnel for us, and we were able to see which campaigns are influencing at the top of the funnel and across all of those buying stages. And it really helped us. That's really what brought in the sales team and really got them interested in all of our marketing efforts. And it was speaking their language. They knew which campaigns were working, which ones weren't, which ones they could then leverage at whatever stage they're at in their opportunities. So that was a really cool moment for us to really help align sales and marketing. And that's really where I see the future going, is more of that relationship and alignment with sales and marketing. And because at the end of the day, you're all on the same team, and you're all working to do the same thing. So you're all looking to sell. So aligning the two teams.
Awesome. And Tigh, you've done also some really cool things. And what's really cool is you're also using product Lightning as one of our very first users. So I think that's really cool as far as sales and marketing alignment goes. But let's tell everybody what you've done over the past few months and then kind of where you see the future.
Yeah, so I think one of the biggest initiatives that is really bearing fruit is we're really building up a really robust library of dynamic content. We've really started looking at what data is coming into our website and partner websites that we have product tracking installed in. And it's not true behavioral data, but we can actually pass like a ton of rich insight and buying criteria into our CRM, into Salesforce, that we can then use, aligning those two platforms to really, serve relevant content to our consumer base. And, I've heard, every year it's another marketing media is like dead. Email is dead, print marketing is dead, Facebook advertising is dead. And it's really not, it's just changing faster and faster and faster. And consumers expect to be delivered, relevant and timely content. And if I can deliver messaging based on, real estate consumers' price point, their neighborhood that they're interested in, what amenities, using, variable content, and dynamic content, goes way beyond the, standard personalization of your name and the subject line. And that's delivering a much better customer experience to our users.
Awesome. So I'm seeing kind of a common theme here of data.
Yeah.
And Rebecca.
Yeah. Well, I think that the theme holds true for us. The thing we're, I think, most excited about, we talked about some yesterday, is we've been on this mission, drinking the Salesforce Kool-Aid, or drinking our own champagne, on stitching together the sales and marketing and B2B clouds. So we've been able to digitize our trade show experience. So there's 4 trade shows that are really meaningful to our organization, and the smaller ones are like 300 leads a show, and the one big one's 3,000, and so it's just this huge multiplier for us. And we've been able to take the first touch all the way through to your sales rep following up with you at home and connect all of those dots and measure along the way the conversion cycle in a way we've never been able to across all 17 of our brands. And so kind of where I think the future is for us is continuing that. But this was to prove that we could do it with one particular use case. But now, as all of our brands are coming together onto a common platform, I'm really excited about next quarter we'll be able to bring along a dashboard that will let our campaign marketing managers look across brands at each other's campaigns. The thing that's really cool about being part of a large enterprise, while sometimes things go a little bit slower, you have all these friends, like you have cousins and neighbors that do things differently, and you can share with each other. So we're able to create this Trailblazer community inside of our own organization too, which is really exciting.
Oh, that's really exciting. I love hearing that stuff. So let's switch gears a little bit to analytics. Tigh, you've done a lot of cool things with analytics. Can you tell us kind of like what you've done and what roadblocks you've seen as far as with your amazing things you have?
Yeah, that's one of my primary roles, is compiling data from 50 different advertising sources, and it's really kind of a pain point. Every week, analysts pulling Facebook impression data and website session information, conversions for AdWords, opportunity conversion, pipeline, and revenue. And compiling all of that data into one single place is very, very difficult. But I think here at Dreamforce, and definitely for my firm, there's this major thrust towards connectivity. And ultimately everything's gonna hopefully live under one roof. And I can say that we upgraded to Lightning over a year ago, and suddenly Salesforce became a data visualization tool. Like that had never happened before. I could create all of these amazing reports, but to present to my management, for management to present to investors or partners, that was incredibly powerful. So if we don't have, and there's definitely this thrust within our organization, you don't have all of that information under a single roof. It's very time consuming, but that's been my sort of experience with
Awesome. Thank you. And Rebecca, I mean, your Cox Automotive is super reliant on all of the data that you guys have in analytics. Tell us about what you're doing, any roadblocks that you've seen, and kind of what maybe your favorite dashboard or something.
Well, I think the biggest challenge we've had, we all know we want more analytics, but we don't know exactly which ones we want. And so that's been our biggest challenge, is where to go and how to start. And so there's this, in technology design, there's this concept of human-centered design. And I was lucky enough to do a workshop on it last year, and I kind of forgot about it for 6 months. Actually, I think it was 2 years ago, and I forgot about it for a year. And we pulled it back off the shelf a few months ago and put the business owner, the guy that was asking for the dashboards, somebody that was asking him for some of these reports, and then my developer that was going to build it, or admin, because we were going to configure it using Lightning dashboards, and we just got on a whiteboard and we drew the thing we wanted to see, and that way we could literally point at it and say, oh, I want to see how many people signed up for a demo here, and then I want to know how many of them showed up in the booth, and then we could really draw it, and when we drew it out, we could debate what was really needed to be there or not before we ever touched a piece of technology. And it just shortened the amount of time we spent in iterations. And then my guy went and built it and came back 3 days later, something ridiculous, because he knew exactly what he wanted to do. And so we showed it back to our business partner, the guy that's our lead for this, and he just upgraded from an iPhone 4. He's like, the internet. And so it was really cool because his eyes just lit up when he could see the pictures, and well, let's make this a pie chart, let's make this a bar, so your eye could follow the concept as it drilled down on the dashboard. And then we laid 2 filters on top, and he could suddenly have 17 different dashboards just by changing a filter. And it saved us 20 hours times 4 trade shows, and it took us less than that to build this the first time. So we never have to touch that dashboard again, and they're super happy with it. So that's been one of our exciting moments with analytics, and one of the things that I would share when you're trying to figure out where to start. Just get out a whiteboard. Sometimes it's important to go analog. So.
For sure. And Emilio, I know this is one of your favorite topics, analytics, numbers, logic. Tell us about what you're doing with analytics. Any tips you can offer when it comes to analytics?
Gosh.
What are your leaders looking for?
Well, I don't want to answer that question because that's the least interesting question.
Okay.
And I don't mean that in a pejorative way. I mean, I think fundamentally people don't know what they need,
Yeah.
and people don't know what they want. And my biggest issue with the way that analytics functions in most organizations is that it's on kind of a tactic approach. How many times have you guys heard, give me the business requirements? I see one guy raise his hand. I mean, I get it all the time, right? And I think we let analysts off too easy. I think we need to empower analysts themselves to be asking creatively quantitative questions all the time. And sometimes questions that just sound like really bad analytics questions. And let me give you a good example. Something, for those of you at B2B MA, there's three ways of looking at multi-touch attribution, right? First touch, last touch, even touch. Where's the second touch? Why don't we look at second touch? To me, second touch is probably the most important touch point in understanding human behavior. If you go on a date with somebody, who cares, right? You might not transpire into a second date. But what happens on the second date is absolutely fundamental to determining what that relationship is with somebody. And I don't know of a single marketer that's looking at ordinal data in an interesting way. And I mean that in a totally, almost like controversial way, because I think we need to do better. And I think the thing that makes me a good marketer is the fact that I think creatively about where the puck isn't yet, but probably will be in the future. And I think that's in ordinal data sets. And I think if you've never thought about ordinal data sets, fundamentally that's just events that happen in a particular order, and the positioning in the order matters, and the relationship to other events in the order really matters. And I think the thing that makes me so excited about marketing technology and Salesforce and Marketing Cloud and Einstein Analytics and so on is that no longer are these tools in the province of people who work at big enterprises. You could work at a small company like mine. We have 230 Salesforce users, and you could be asking yourselves these really wonderful, wonderfully creative questions about data and the relationships between events and open rate and social engagement and so on. And with a bit of training, you can be the kind of person to answer those questions for yourselves. You don't need to wait on a data integration specialist to answer these things anymore. You don't need to have a background in statistics. And I think the other thing that's really exciting too is, I love AI. I think AI is really cool. I use it regularly in a way that probably this isn't the venue to talk about it, but something that I think is really fundamental to AI is to understand what its limitations are as well. So for any of you, for instance, who have taken a college statistics class, the more variables you have in a model, the lower your statistical power is. That's not an opinion, that's a law of statistics. And so we're all building these data sets and we're like, integrate, I need everything in there, And it's like, that's gonna be bad predictions. That's gonna be bad predictions. And I think the thing that really excites me about analytics and marketing is we have the best data sets, we have the most dynamic data sets, and we have the complete Wild West with a ton of white space for what can be done in analytics. And that's why I'm excited to be doing that kind of stuff.
You said a couple things that were fantastic there, but the one that I gotta jump on to is like you said, the large enterprise. You don't need to wait for the data analyst. I'll tell you, in the large enterprise, don't wait for us. It takes us a long time and it costs a lot of money when we have to build it for you because we don't know your data. Even if you are in a large organization, whether you call it a proof of concept or a pilot or whatever you have to call it so you can go out and just start playing with the data, do it. And it's what I keep telling people is, don't bring me the dashboards you want. Bring me the data set you want to play with. And I'll give you the access to the analytics suite and go to town. So no matter how large or small, always bring that innovative, exploratory spirit. It's awesome.
Awesome, so many great tips already.
Yeah.
Bailey, I know you guys are doing a lot of great things with analytics. Do you want to tell us about any roadblocks that you've seen and kind of what your experience has been?
Yeah, we had a very similar experience to you actually. People were getting very hung up on this KPI, I need to see this, and I need to build it in this way, and they're in the technology, learning to build dashboards at the same time, and they're trying to fit it into this box that they don't quite understand. So we had to take a step back, we had to whiteboard it out, and say, what are the questions that you're trying to answer, what are you really looking for, and where is that data? Can we access it? What are we actually trying to solve here? So it really took a whiteboarding session of, this is what we're trying to do, and then compiling all of that from various different departments and pulling that together, and then coming to me to build these analytics dashboards.
Awesome. And one of the reasons I think this group is pretty amazing and doing so many innovative things is you guys have all kind of taken a deep dive into AI. Tigh, can you tell us about your experience with artificial intelligence, what you're doing, how you even got started?
Well, so I'm not sure what I would say deep dive at this point. There's some pretty cool things that we've been, experimenting with and used for a while. I try to be an early adopter of using, chatbots and Slack to pull in data from Google Analytics and AdWords and Salesforce. And there's some pretty cool stuff, borderline AI, basically machine learning, recognizing trends and patterns, in past lead volume or revenue, seasonality and stuff like that. But we have been using Salesforce Inbox for about a year now, which was the first native app launched by Salesforce with Einstein baked in, and that ability to, so we have a very different sort of problem with we're not trying to exclude data sets, it's really capturing the data is one of our biggest problems. And so 230 users is small, we're like 85, so we're very, very far from enterprise. So I think getting information, getting quality information is really, really powerful, really, really useful. And then we're a couple months into Sales Cloud Einstein, which is pretty incredible. And to Emilio's point again, the unknown unknowns. You can, every dashboard that you can create is based on a hypothesis of the potential outcome. I'm not smart enough to do really deep dives into pattern recognition. And that's my real hope, and that's also one of the things that we're starting to see with Einstein Insights and empowering my salespeople with another tool to weight their database, weight their clientele in terms of sales readiness. It is incredible with data scoring. So really high hopes, really cool experience so far.
Yeah, analytics Einstein is one of my favorite tools out there right now. I'm excited a lot. Rebecca, what have you guys been doing around AI at Cox?
We're just starting to dip our toe into it. We have data in lots of places, and so we're trying to look at where can we put Einstein to work in a way that we can believe it. So because we have so much data, we have teams of data scientists, and they have a job, and they kind of hear about Einstein, and that's scary. And so we're trying to look at where can we use the AI as it comes to life to help us support our data scientist efforts versus take away from it. So the area we're looking at the most right now is around leads. And as leads come in, what's driving that lead conversion? And so it's still a work in progress. We're just starting to dip our toe into that. Where we've been spending most of our time with analytics has been around using Einstein analytics to create visualizations of data that doesn't exist in the Sales Cloud or Marketing Cloud, or pairing and then embedding those dashboards into our account pages or contact pages so that we can put the right data in the right place. So now that we've got data in a place that people can see it, now we can start going forward into predicting things from there.
Awesome. And Emilio, you guys have done a lot of great things. I know you're really excited about AI. Can you tell us a little about kind of what you've been doing and how you kind of got started?
Yeah, so I mean, it's a relevant piece of background that when I dropped out of grad school, I happened to take a machine learning class and I happened to take an automated theorem proving class. And that gave me enough knowledge to know what's BS about AI. And I say that with some degree of comedy, but the truth is, AI for business applications, for analyzing data sets, fundamentally does two things, right? It helps you run regressions, right? So a regression is a relationship between a variable and an outcome. And the other thing that it can do is it can really be helpful for identifying related records in a segment. So k-means analysis, right? Those are the two things it does. I mean, it also does natural language processing, vision, all that stuff as well. But from a business application, those are the two functions of AI, full stop, right? And So I think it was important for me when I started getting into AI for business applications to understand what I would possibly use it for. And part of me getting excited about it actually started way before you guys had the Einstein acquisition. And there's a lot of tools out there, that I like, that are not related to the Salesforce ecosystem, that I've used to look at basically big data sets of contact records and sales outcomes and help me understand the relevancy of each variable. So an example would be, for instance, is state relevant to somebody's likelihood to close given the size of their business? Okay, so that's like a conditional probability and stuff like that. With marketing segments, what are similar groups of individuals and what attributes do they have in common? So k-means clustering, so stuff like that, right? So for me, I really saw AI as being useful for those two applications. And I think the thing that excites a lot of people about AI is its dynamicism. And what I mean by its dynamicism is that those regressions can run every day. You don't need to like run it through a computer that overheats in a mainframe anymore. Like you can do that every single day. But I think the reason why, in some ways, I'm not actually super excited about AI for like sales ops is like, if it's taking my team a week to update an opportunity, but as you know, I don't need that much dynamic data. And then moreover, if I'm using AI to build a strategy, I'm not going to change the strategy minute to minute, right? Because there's so much human engineering, there's so much getting people on board, developing an idea that you want to extend for a certain fixed period of time and then evaluate in the future. So to me, the real exciting thing about AI is it can do a lot of things that would take Excel 3 days to do, and that's in fact what we had to do in the past at my current company just 3 years ago. You can hire a few, you can use some really powerful servers, but still running complicated regressions is going to take you days and days and days, whereas with a cloud-based AI tool, you can do that quickly. So it's funny, I'm really into analytics, but actually I'm pretty like modest about how much I think it's going to transform businesses.
Thank you. Go ahead.
I think the thing that's interesting to me is how can we use tools not to like transform our business, but maybe take some of the guardrails off. Like today, we're setting marketers up to create a campaign to tell sales, give them 3 options of a campaign, and the customer gets put into A, B, or C, right? Based on that interaction they have with the salesperson. So they either go into the aggressive product nurture, or they go into the keep in touch product nurture. That kind of thing, where we're creating these preset configurations that don't necessarily, we call them, remember a couple years ago we would start calling it one-to-one marketing, but it wasn't one-to-one. It was 1 to 4 patterns. And you got a response based on the sequence that was set by the marketer. I'm really interested, and I don't know if it's true or not, and you clearly are epically more educated in this genre than I am, but I'm really interested to see, can this let us take the guardrails off and let a person who's talking to the customer, whether it's the salesperson, the service person, say that a interaction happened, and the response that is the next step, like that next action, is informed